We're now going to take a look at another method that allows us to convert strings into numbers. This method is called the try-parse method. Previously, we've talked about an approach that allows us to convert strings into numbers. This was the val method. So we can take any string and we would convert it into some number. Now, to be more specific, it actually returns a double. It doesn't return an integer, it actually returns a double, even though a lot of our examples we showed that it returns an integer, but it actually gives us a double. There is a second method that we can use, which is called the try-parse method. It also allows us to convert a string into a number. The big difference between the try-parse method and the val method is we can choose what data type we convert the string into. We're not limited to just integers. So let me give you the syntax for this. So the way we would call this is we would have some data type, a dot, and then try-parse with the T and the P capitalized. We'd have our parentheses, and then our parameters would be some string, which here we're calling string, and then a variable, which we call variable. So here, string is the actual string that we're trying to convert, and the variable does two things for us. One, the data type of that variable is of type data type that allows us to convert the string into that data type, and this variable is also going to store that result. So it does two things. It's going to tell the method what we're going to convert the string into, and then it's actually going to store the conversion for us. Let's do an example to help us understand the try-parse method a little bit better. So let's say we have an application, and this application has a text box. We'll call this text box TB price. And let's say we have the following code. So we have dim price as double. So that means we're declaring a variable called price, and we are saying it's going to be a double. And then we have the line double.try-parse, then in parentheses tbprice.text, and then price. So what this does is we're going to take the string that's stored in tbprice, and the dot text means we're getting the actual text portion of it. We're going to convert it into a double and then store that in price. So price will contain the double value of whatever was in our text box. Now that last example just converted a string to a double, which is the same thing as the val method. So let's do another example. Let's say we have an application and we have a label. And let's say this label is called LB Team 1 Total. So there's going to be some text here that's some label. We don't know what the text actually is, we just know there's some text. Let's say we have the following lines of code. So we'd have dim Team 1 Total as integer. So here we're declaring Team 1 Total as a variable that stores an integer. And then we have integer.try-parse and then parentheses LB Team 1 Total.text and then Team 1 Total. So what this is going to do is take the text portion of our label and then convert it into an integer and store that integer in Team 1 Total. So here we see that we're going to actually convert to an integer. And we know we're doing that from two different ways. We know that Team 1 Total is an integer, so that means the method is going to take the string, convert it to an integer, and store it in Team 1 Total. But we also know that it's going to be an integer because of this part right here in front of the dot. So the desired data type is always going to be on the left-hand side of the dot operator. So it's going to be the data type we convert dot try-parse. So this tells us that we are going to be converting our string into an integer. Let's do one more example, just because we can. So let's say we have another application, and here we have a combo box. And let's say this is called CB radius. And we have the following lines of code. We have dim radius as decimal. So now we see that radius is a variable of type decimal. And then we have decimal.try-parse, and then in parentheses cbradius.text, and then radius. So what this is going to do is we're going to take the text that's stored in the CB radius, whatever the text is affiliated with that for the combo box. We're going to convert it to type decimal, and then we're going to store that into radius. So we see here in all these different examples, we can take the string of some type, whether it's a label or a combo box or wherever, convert it into the data type that we want and then store in a respective variable of whatever that data type is. Now here's a question you might be asking yourself. With the val method, if the string that we were trying to convert was not a complete number, maybe just the first part of it was some number, we could do the conversion. Does that also apply to try-parse? And the answer to that is no. Unlike the val method, try-parse has to have the exact information. The string has to be a complete number. If the string contains anything else, then try-parse is not going to work. Does that mean we're going to get an error? No, we're not going to get an error, but we're going to get a 0 if we do not have a complete number in the string. So let me give you an example here. Let's say we have the following code. So we have two variables. We have discount, which is being declared as an integer, and then we have str, which is a string, and notice that it has 7% with the percent sign in there. So then we're going to try to convert string into an integer. So we're going to take the 7% and try to store the 7 in discount. So we have integer.tryparse and then str and discount. And then we're going to have a message box pop up and show the value of discount. What's going to happen here is the tryparse method is going to recognize that it's not the string is not a complete number. So it's not going to do any conversion. Discount is just going to be 0, and the output in this case is going to end up being 0. Let's do another example. So here we have some code where we pretty much have the same thing as before. We still have discount and we have str. Now take a look at what we're initializing str to. We have the string 13.67, and then we're trying to convert it to an integer. Let me ask you, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think the value of discount is going to be, and what do you think is going to be displayed? Pause the video for just a minute, think about it, and then resume when you think you know the answer. The output in this case is actually 0. Yep, that's right. This does not work. And you might be thinking, wait, 13.67 is a valid number. You are correct if we were trying to convert this to a double or a decimal. But notice that we're trying to convert str into an integer. This is not a valid integer. Therefore, discount is going to be 0. So the moral of the story is if you're trying to convert the string into a desired type, you have to make sure that string matches the desired type. Let's try that same example one more time. The difference here is take a look at discount. Notice what we're declaring it as. We're declaring it as a double. So here we have our string, which is 13.67. We're going to try to convert 13.67 to a double, store in a discount, and then display it. Does this work? The answer to that is yes. This will actually work because the string matches the type double. So it will convert the string to 13.67, store it into discount, and sure enough, the output here will be 13.67. Okay, so I lied about the whole trying the example one more time. We're going to actually do it a couple more times. So here we have discount as a double. Here our str string is now negative 13.67, and we're going to try to convert this to a double. So I'm going to ask you again, do you think this will work? Pause the video, think about it. If you know the answer, or if you think you know the answer, resume and see if you actually got it right. The output in this case does work. It does give us negative 13.67. The point here is to show that negative numbers are perfectly fine. They match the type here. In this particular case, the negative in front still means that this thing is a valid double. So we convert it to a double, we store in a discount, and then we display it. So negative numbers are perfectly fine. Here is another example where discount is of type double, and our string str contains the string 13.67 space discount. So I'm going to ask you, does this work? Is this going to convert into a double properly? The answer to that is no. This isn't going to work. So that means the output is going to be 0. We're going to display a 0. And this is because our complete string is not a double. We cannot convert the whole thing to a double. When we're using the try parse method, we either can convert the entire thing into the desired data type, or we just store a 0. It's one or the other. There's no happy middle ground thing. It's an all or nothing deal. There's nothing in between. This is the last example, I promise. So here we still have our discount as a double, but now our string str is the empty string, not the null string, but the empty string. And here we're going to try to convert it into a double and store it into discount and then print it. So what's going to happen here? In this case, well, the empty string is not a double, so when we try to convert it, it's going to be a 0. So the output here is 0, and this is because the empty string doesn't have any numbers. So whenever you try to convert, make sure there's something in the string to actually convert.